David Shaw here with another off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., come visit my site, offtherecordtours.com. Let's go. Standing across the street from each other on Washington's Embassy Row stand two champions of democracy and freedom and justice from the last century, Winston Churchill and Nelson Mandela. Outside the South African embassy stands Mandela. With his fist soaring into the air as it was when he was released from prison, he stands victorious at this place where many Washingtonians were arrested for protesting South Africa's apartheid regime. A lawyer, he was sentenced to life in prison for his opposition to apartheid, apartheid being his country's political system based on white supremacy, where the minority white population controlled all the levers of political and economic power. He served 27 years in prison, much of it on Robben's Island, at this cell, which I was privileged to visit many years ago. Shortly after release, he became South Africa's first black president. Across the avenue, outside the British Embassy, stands Winston Churchill, shown here with his V for Victory salute and carrying his ever-present cigar. Churchill was the greatest Englishman of his generation. For many years, he stood alone in decrying the danger of Nazi Germany. And he led his country to victory in World War II as its prime minister. But as soon as the war was over, he was booted out of office, although he came back into power some years later. Churchill's father was the Duke of Marlborough. Not that Marlborough, this Marlborough. His mother was an American. So it's fitting that the property line between the British Embassy and the United States runs directly between Churchill's legs. In so many ways, he has one foot in each country. Underneath this statue is earth from three important places in Churchill's life: Blenheim Palace, where he was born; Chartwell, his home in the English countryside; and Brooklyn, New York, home of his mother. Interestingly, you can find statues of these two men in Parliament Square in London. It's highly unlikely that Churchill knew of Mandela. They did not share the public stage at the same time. However, if he did know him, he probably wouldn't think very highly of him. Churchill was a white supremacist through and through, and he was very displeased about the dismantling of the British colonial empire, which South Africa was at one time a part of. Mandela surely knew of Churchill. What he thought of him is unknown. What is known is that Mandela had lots of experience dealing with Churchill's type. And while it may appear that these two are engaged in an infinite game of rock, paper, scissors, what they really do is remind us that each generation raises up leaders that defend democracy in different ways. And they're a part of this most elegant thoroughfare, Embassy Row, filled with fascinating stories, and I hope you take time to visit it when you come to Washington. Well, I hope you enjoyed that off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., things seen and unseen, arrange your tour of your nation's capital at offtherecordtours.com. Until then, I'm David Shaw.